So here's a fascinating question. How does a single message, a simple idea of faith, grow into this massive global network? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. We're going to break down the blueprint, starting with just one line of scripture and tracing its journey all the way to a coordinated worldwide ministry. It's a pretty amazing process.
And it all kicks off right here, with this one verse from Galatians. Now, this isn't just some random quote they threw at the beginning. No, this is the anchor for the entire thing. It sets up this central conflict we're going to see over and over, this clear divide between freedom on one side and bondage on the other. You have to understand, everything else is built on this very foundation.
All right, so first up, let's dive into this message of freedom. How is this core idea, this theology, actually presented? Let's take a look.
You know what jumps out right away is just how absolute this message is. The freedom they're talking about, it's not temporary, it's not partial. They describe it as permanent and covering everything. And it's not some vague, floaty, spiritual idea either. It's framed as a direct release from very real struggles, sin, fear, and what they call the enemy. I mean, that's a seriously powerful promise to open with, right?
And here we see that central conflict laid out super clearly. You've got liberty in Christ on one side, that's all about being permanent, moving forward, and then on the other, the yoke of bondage, which is all about being entangled and oppressed. The key thing to grasp here seems to be that it's not just a one-time choice. It's presented as a state you have to actively maintain, something you have to keep walking in.
Okay, but just understanding the idea, that's only step one. The document doesn't just leave you with the theory, it pivots really quickly to, okay, what do you do about it? It gives you a really clear call to action.
And it basically boils down to this simple, but honestly pretty potent two-step formula. First, you're asked to reflect, to look inside and figure out where you might feel oppressed. And then, immediately after that, you're told to declare your freedom. That's a huge leap, right? It's moving from just believing something quietly to actively, verbally saying it out loud.
And this quote from the prayer they provide, it's basically the script for that declaration. The words are so intentional and strong and super personal. I stand firm. I refuse. It's designed to be this powerful individual statement that really locks in a person's commitment.
So up to this point, it's all been about strengthening the faith of people who are already believers. But what about new people? What about those on the outside looking in? Well, it turns out the document has a very structured, very clear on-ramp for new followers.
And this is where you really see the engine for growth. This prayer of salvation isn't just a nice thought. It's positioned as a formal tool for conversion. It's not a suggestion. It's a specific ritual, a set of words you say to make it official, to formally join the faith.
When you look at the prayer itself, it's built on this really clear theological framework. Each little part is a core belief that a person has to confess, and they even back it up with a Bible verse. It's like a step-by-step guide walking a new convert through all the essential beliefs.
The end result of saying that prayer? You become born again. That's the term they use for the whole transformation. But here's the crucial part. It doesn't just stop with the prayer. The ministry immediately offers up a resource, a free ebook in this case, to teach the new believer more. And that's a really smart engagement and retention strategy, right? It takes someone from that single moment of conversion and puts them on a path of continued learning.
Okay, so we've seen the journey for one person. Now let's pull the camera back. Let's zoom out and see how all these individuals get organized into a massive, collective, global mission.
And wow, the scale of this mission is just staggering. The goal isn't some vague idea, it's a hard number. Operation 500 million souls for Christ. I mean, putting a number like that on it, 500 million people, that creates this incredible sense of urgency and purpose for the whole organization. So how do you actually help reach that massive goal? Well, the source material lays out 3 very clear roles. You can be a prayer partner, a volunteer missionary, or what they call a kingdom investor. And what's really strategic about this is that it creates different ways for people to get involved. It lets people jump in at whatever level they can commit to, whether it's with their time, their service, or their money. It's actually a brilliant way to get as many people engaged as possible.
All right, so the last piece of this puzzle is how do they coordinate all this? How does an organization based in Nigeria manage a global effort of this size? The answer, it seems, is that they have totally embraced modern digital tools.
And they're using a whole range of platforms. I mean, everything from TikTok for outreach to Telegram for their podcasts. But the thing that really stands out is WhatsApp.
It makes up almost half of their entire digital community. This tells me their strategy is heavily focused on direct, group chats, which makes sense for coordinating all those daily declarations and prayer groups we talked about.
And this is where you see that digital strategy really pay off. This is just a small sample of the countries involved, but look at this. It shows a perfectly coordinated 24-hour global prayer cycle. So while a group in Nigeria is praying at midnight, another group in the US is praying in the evening, and folks in the Philippines are praying in the morning. It creates this powerful feeling of a constant, non-stop, unified effort happening all over the world.
So, there you have it. We've traced this entire path, from one single verse of Scripture to a personal call to action, to a prayer for salvation, and all the way to this digitally connected global network that's shooting for 500 million people. It really leaves us with this one big question to chew on. How does something so personal, a message of individual faith, become the actual blueprint for a massive global movement?
Good day, beloved. Thank you for watching. If this kingdom message has blessed you, please like, comment, and share with someone today. Stay connected with God's servant David Felix Nwefulu by subscribing for more daily kingdom inspirations and turn on your notification button so you do not miss a word that strengthens your faith. God bless you.